Hello and welcome to this series of videos on the Gimp 2.4. In this video, we're going to be touching on the text tool. And you can get to all the options here for the text tool by clicking on this icon in our toolbox, which is probably the easiest, or hitting the letter T as in Tom on your keyboard. Now, one thing I wanted to point out here is I've added a couple extra speed tools, for lack of a better phrase, to my toolbox here. And you can do this because they're basically they're defaults that you can either tick on or tick off. And how I have them added here is by you going up to File, Preferences, and this is how you can set up different items within your GIMP software. And if you happen to screw something up in amongst here, just go to the reset button and that'll fix it all up for you, just like it came out of the box, brand new. Anywho, speaking of box, we go here to the toolbox and just tick or untick the items that you want in your toolbox. Speed tools for what I call them. And we're good to go. So we click on OK and we're out of here. Now then, just going to touch on some of the items here in our options box for the text tool is the font. And this is the list of all the fonts available on your system. So pick one that you're happy with, and that's the text font style that will show up on the image that you're going to be adding text to. And this gives us a little description of what that font is. And here you can increase or decrease the size of the text by these up or down arrows, or by just highlighting and putting in whatever number you're wanting. And over here, I would just leave this as Pix or PIX, or PX rather, and that stands for pixels. Or if for some odd reason you want to change that to inches, millimeters, points, picas, or more, then you've got those options here as available. These three items here I've never messed with. They're basically fine-tuning points to the point of something that I have no need for, but they're basically fine-tuning for like smoothing the edges of the text that you're entering onto your image. And possibly if you're going to be using humongous size text like 50 or 60 or 70 pixels, then this might come into play, but I don't, so I won't. So if you find the need, go ahead and play around with them until you're happy with them, but I would just leave them alone. Insofar as me using this for creating header graphics or footer graphics or ebook covers or video cover type graphics, this works fine for me, so I just leave that alone. Now, and of course, you can change the color by clicking on this, and it brings up your text color chooser. And you got several options up here you can use to change the change the color of the text. And whenever you're happy with the color, then you just click on OK, and it changes the color of the text here. Now, if you notice, it also changes it here and here. And what I do instead of this is I just go over here to my color dialog box and make the decision on what color text I want. And as you can see, as I'm choosing it, it makes the changes both in the foreground color here as well as the text color here, and so on. Now, another way is right here is the foreground and here's the background color. You can alternate this by just clicking on this arrow here, and that moves it back and forth. And as you watch this here, you can see it changes that as well. So that's that. And justify. And again, I don't mess with this too much, because if I want to move my text from, this is justified to the left, to the center, to the right, and filled. If I want to do that, then I'll just use the move tool. But that's just how I roll. Anyway, this is the indentation of the first line, and you may find a need for that, and if so, you can adjust the amount of indentation by using these buttons here. And this increases or decreases the space between the lines of your text, and also between the text themselves, the characters themselves. Now, on these guys here that are not highlighted, these are pretty cool tools that allow you to transform, deform, warp, however you want to put it, the text that you're putting on your image. And once you start typing your text, or you've entered the text onto the image, then these guys will become active. And what they will do is similar to this Bezier or Paths tool up here. thus the name path down here, is it provides you with handles, and you just grab those handles and pull on them or move them around, and it transforms, deforms, warps, whatever you want to call it, the text that you're working with at that time. So again, that come in handy, as far as playing around with the different text styles. But let's go ahead and open up a image and start playing around with it ourselves and add some text. And let me see here. Let's go to one that I've already played with here before. And this is a header image. And if you notice, it's a PSD extension, which means it's a Photoshop image. One of the cool things about the GIMP, besides the fact that it's free, is that you are able to manipulate or alter, change, work with the Photoshop images without having to spend the $300 to $600 for the Photoshop software. As you can see over here are the different layers that make up this header image. And just to demonstrate, you can just click on the eyeball there to disengage that image and they go away. And alternately, you can click on them and make them come back. So that being said, let's go ahead and add some text. Now once you've got the text chosen, or the way you the style set up here, the way that you want it to appear on your image, then you just click anywhere on your image and you've got some options here. Well, the text editor pops up and you can either go to open the file, and if you've got some text stashed away somewhere, like say for example the copyright information, the GIMP people have told me that if you hit the Alt key and something on your numbers pad on your keyboard, that it will open up the selection of the special characters, like for example the TM for the trademark, or the C within the circle for the copyright emblem. I can't get that to work for me. So what I've done instead is I will type that information out on a Word document or text document, save it. And this is one way that you can get to that information. You can open the file up here, highlight it, copy it, and then just paste it in here. And then you just close this, and you can be on about your business. Or you can hit the clear, and that will eliminate or delete or clear the text that you've already put in the text editor. And the LTR and RTL is simply the direction that the text is being entered, from left to right or from right to left. Mainly English, and this is some European languages like Arabic, for example. And let's go ahead and type in some text freehand, and then we can click on close, and there we have it. Now then, once the text is in here, you can go to some of the other tools we've touched on before, like for example the move tool. And once I click on this icon, I want to make sure that this radio button here is ticked, the move the active layer, because otherwise if this one's ticked, it'll still work, but you got to play around with it, and sometimes you have a tendency, or I do anyway, of grabbing the wrong layer, even though the mouse is right over this character here. So have that one ticked, that way the active layer, being the hand here, or the freehand, the one we just made, is picked, and we can just move this guy around anywhere we want. And if we want to say rotate it, we can rotate it any way we want. There we have that. And let's try this perspective. Again, you can just play around with things that way. And that's pretty much the text tool, and some of the different ways you can play around with it. Increasing the size, and again, don't forget that you can copy and paste from other documents the text that you want to enter into your image here. Then once you're done, you just go here to File, Save As, and you can save it as, let me move this guy up here, you can save it as a PSD or a Photoshop file, but here's what you want to do. Go down here to the plus sign, and this is how you decide what you want to save it as. GIMP, you can save it as this extension, the XCF, and this is kind of a generic extension where you can save it. You can open it up in GIMP, you can open this up in Photoshop, but this is what I typically do, is I'll just save it in whatever format that I open it up in. So if I opened up a PSD, I'll save it in PSD. So we'll just go on down here and find our PSD. Where are we at here? PSD. And then, so you can see everything here, then click on Save. A file named header5 already exists. You want to replace it? No, I don't. I don't want to overwrite it, but you get the idea. That's how you would do that. So that's pretty much it. And, oh yeah, and of course where you're going to be saving it at, I kind of took it for granted you knew about that part. But you just hit the plus or minus key down here to select the file type. If you try to save it otherwise, then, with a different name that is, you put the name up here. Let's go ahead and give it a different name just for the sake of argument here. No, not that one. Let's go with Fit 5B and then hit save. Bada bing, bada boom. We are now done, and this is now the 5B. And that's it, folks. Thank you much for watching this video. I hope you learned something and have fun entering text into your images.